My guest today was nominated for Content Creator of the Year at the Trackmania Awards for developing the Open Planet. Tonight, she is here to discuss the Open Planet alongside other stuff in Trackmania and how she thinks about the Trackmania community overall. Miss, first and foremost, how are you, and welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm good.
And for people that I gave you a short introduction, but for people that might not know who you are and maybe just know the Open Planet, can you tell them who are you and what do you do in Trackmania?
I'm Miss. I like to play Canyon a lot, but I think most people know me as either the developer for Openplanet or a moderator on the forum.
And like you said, you play Canyon a lot, but when did you discover Trackmania? When was how was your way into this game?
The first time I played Trackmania was like when Nations came out, I think, because it was free, so it was very easy to get started with it. And then later, I think Trackmania 2 came out, and then I tried the beta for Canyon, and that's how I kind of got into it.
Huh. So when you started playing Canyon, you knew that, okay, I like this sort of environment better than the stadium, or?
No, actually, I wanted Trackmania 2 to have stadium, because that's one of the things I really wanted from Trackmania 2, because I was so used to Nations. I think a lot of people were like that.
Yeah.
But I only came back to Canyon like, I think at 2014. I started playing again because I had a long break.
Huh.
And that's how I got back into Canyon.
But would you say that you have ever been some sort of competitive gamer, or just been playing around for fun, having casual gameplay?
I played some ESL matches in Canyon for a couple different teams before. For Door, VNR, which is an old French team, Smurfs too. Yeah.
Huh. But eventually you just said that, okay, there's more fun to do in Trackmania, there is other stuff to do, or how was the transition from going to sort of playing and enjoying the game to actually develop some stuff yourself and finding out about that side of the game?
Well, for me, it was much like I'm always a programmer, so I'm very interested in all kinds of programming stuff. So I've always been doing coding stuff like scripting game modes. I've been trying that, but I always felt like Mania Script, the scripting language that comes with Mania Planet, is very, very limited, and you cannot do anything like. Well, you can do a lot of things, obviously, but you cannot do like a lot of advanced things that I really wanted to do. So I decided to look into like reverse engineering the game and stuff, and that's how I started working on Openplanet. I just found out things that you can do in the game that you normally couldn't, and that's how Openplanet started. And that was while I was still doing competitive stuff as well.
Okay, so you said that the Mania Planet offers some stuff, but there are also some stuff that you want to do that it doesn't offer. What kind of stuff was that? What did you want to do that you eventually couldn't do?
Well, the primary thing is a very technical issue. I'm not going to go into that too deep, but it's basically like a restriction in Mania Script, like because Nadio developed Mania Script themselves, so there's a lot of things that they didn't implement, like a lot of things that you have in other more popular programming languages you don't have in Mania Script. So I wanted to have a scripting language, like a secondary scripting language, that does have all those things, so that you can do a lot more better structured.
Okay, and then you came up with Open Planet. You were nominated for like the Content Creator of the Year due to that. But I hosted that sort of award show, but I still don't know what is Open Planet really. What can you like try to explain it easy first, and then eventually we can maybe go deeper into it. What is Open Planet?
Okay, so for most people, Open Planet is a tool for Mania Planet which lets you access a lot more things that you normally would not have access to, such as you can increase the map size. I don't know if you've ever used Team Unlimited?
No, but I'm more familiar with that than Openplanet.
Okay, well, it's kind of similar. With Team Unlimited, you can like make bigger maps and stuff. You can like put blocks wherever you want. Openplanet is kind of the same. You can increase the map size to like whatever, and you can place blocks outside the map and stuff. That's one of the first things that I added. Later on, I also added like environment mixing for a stadium, so you can drive, like for example, the canyon car in a stadium environment, which normally you wouldn't be able to do.
Huh.
Yeah, there's a lot more things that you can do with it.
Would you say that people enjoy it, or are there still some things that needs to be polished or added for like it to be a complete package? Is Openplanet finished?
Well, the term "finished," I don't think it's ever going to be finished because, Nadia keeps updating the game, and then I have to keep, keeping up with their updates to make sure it stays compatible and stuff. But in terms of like features, like unlocking stuff, I think I'm pretty close to having a complete package of like being able to like use things inside of Openplanet and script them to do whatever you want, because the whole idea of Openplanet itself is it has a separate scripting engine, so you can write your own scripts that make these features possible. So the map size feature is, for example, is a script. The stadium unlocking, environment unlocking, that's also a script. That's everything is a script in Openplanet.
Okay. And then a topic that is sort of up for debate at the moment is like the server sizes, and the server cannot handle amount of players. Is this something that Openplanet could do, or is that out of your sort of reach?
I've had a lot of people ask me that question. I think as far as I can tell, there's a lot of things with with the server that I cannot control, because a lot of it depends on like how the networking code is programmed by Nadia. So I can't really change that as much. The only thing Openplanet might be able to do is like increase buffer size, so you can, I don't know, maybe avoid the problem a little bit more. But I think you can do a lot already with like the configuration of the server, but I don't think Openplanet will be able to fix any of that.
So if you were to say what kind of side of the community does Openplanet touch the most, is it the esports side, the map building side, the casual gameplay? What is this sort of project touching the most on?
It's mostly map building, but Openplanet also has a Discord rich presence, which lets you see like what everyone is playing. Like if you're playing on the server, your Discord status will be like, "Hey, I'm playing on this server," which is kind of cool for normal players as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's mostly for content creators too. That's really the main thing.
But you touch upon like this having a coding for, let's say, driving with a canyon car in the stadium environment. Is it like, do you have an idea of hosting tournaments on that, or do you leave that up for others to have this environmental mix tournament?
I'm gonna leave it up to others. I'm not good at organizing stuff like that. I did want to make a title pack once with like with the canyon car on stadium, but yeah, I never finished that.
But have you tested all the cars on the different environments, and if so, what is the maybe most underrated car to play in a different environment?
I mean, environment mixing is already possible normally.
Okay.
The only thing that you normally can do is play with cars on the stadium environment. Like normally Nanya wouldn't let you do that. I think personally, the best car on Stadium would be, well, maybe I'm biased, but I'm going to say Canyon. Yeah, I really like the Canyon car on Stadium because it just gives you like all these blocks that you normally wouldn't have on Canyon. So it's a really different experience for Canyon drivers.
So
But that's
go ahead.
be biased.
It's okay to be biased sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But I've seen some people, I believe in Trackmania Nations Forever, having this. They also use this unlimited. But what is the biggest difference between coding in Mania Planet and coding in the old game Trackmania Nations Forever, if you have coded there?
I don't have much experience with Team Unlimited, but as far as I can tell, you can make like native plugins, like you write C++ codes and you load them into Team Unlimited. I could be entirely wrong, but that's I think that's how it works with Team Unlimited.
Huh.
And also another thing with Team Unlimited is it can do a little bit more things than you could do in Mania Planet, mostly because Mania Planet doesn't. Well, maybe I'm wrong there too, but I don't think Mania Planet actually lets you do a lot of the things that Team Unlimited is letting you on United, because the engine is just very different. It just they updated the engine a lot. For example, one thing I noticed that they changed between Mania Planet 3 and Mania Planet 4 is that you used to be able to access like the player car as like an entity in the scene, but since Mania Planet 4, or like since some update from Mania Planet 3, you are not able to actually access that car anymore, probably because of anti-cheat and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things there that Nanio has done that kind of limits what Openplanet lets you do.
And did you start like working on an Openplanet in Mania Planet 3 then, right? Or
Yeah, I did. I didn't release it until Mania Planet 4, mostly because I was waiting for. Well, I was waiting for Mania Planet 4 to be released as well, because that was also announced. But I also was waiting for Nadio to actually give me the okay to release it.
what do you mean by okay for releasing Openplanet?
Well, I asked them like if they were okay with me releasing it, because it might help people to like cheat or whatever. So I got in contact with Nadio before it got released and asked if I could release it, and like if they wanted to see the code and stuff and see how it works, which is good, because it ended up me actually getting more info from Nadio about how some stuff works, and they wanted me to add some more limitations for like things that Open was able to write to, like variables, like, well, not exactly very bad variables, but things that you shouldn't be able to write to, like, for example, player position or whatever. That's not actually a thing, but it's an example. Yes, things like that. Nadio gave me some pointers about how to know if Nadio doesn't want players to be able to change variables in the game and stuff. So I ended up adding those things, and then they gave me the okay to release it. So that was cool.
Okay, so talking about this Openplanet and being in touch with Nadeo itself, is it like Nadeo and the developer of the game overall has maybe gotten some ideas from you and said, okay, we actually want to implement this to the game itself?
They didn't have any direct ideas, but there was a time when I was playing with Helis in Trackmania Chase, where he was talking about adding the distance meter, because if you don't know, in Chase it's important to know. In Chase, it's important to know when your teammate is going to hit the next checkpoint.
Yeah.
And so you need to know how far away they are from you. So before they added that that meter. I was playing with Helios, and he was talking about wanting to add that, just because if Openplanet can do it, then maybe we should just add it.
Yeah.
It was mostly meant as a joke by him, but I thought it was pretty funny, and maybe he actually meant it, but I don't know. He said it was a joke, but I thought it was I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, sometimes the joke has a true meaning and something.
Even if it was a joke, it had good meaning.
But
yeah,
if you, I don't know what to say, but I'm a big fan of the esports side of Trackmania, and I've just followed that. And in Trackmania Grand League, you have this new sort of layout, I don't know, displayed on the server. But have you seen anything in, let's say, a match that you think could be easier or better for the viewing experience? Something that maybe it should be fixed?
I haven't seen that overlay that you're talking about, but I have heard some things about it. Yeah, I don't know.
But besides that, if you watch any matches, is it like you miss some features in, like maybe point systems or anything like that, so it's displayed easier, or is that out of your sort of field?
Yeah, I'm not sure much about the esports stuff. Like I am actually playing the Smurfs CEP.
Okay.
Which is fun, but I don't really watch many competitions.
Okay, so I guess we are completely different.
And if I do, there's not much that I would change, I think.
Okay. But then let's get into maybe more topics. You said that you are a moderator on the forum. For people that might not know, what is this forum?
It's the Mania Planets forum. It's the place where Nadia talks to the players, and the players ask about problems that they're having on the game and hope that Nadia responds.
So this is a different forum that the MX forum and the TMX forum. This is a own forum, or?
Yeah, it's forum.maniaplanet.com. It's the official Mania Planet forum.
Yeah, and what is your job there as a moderator?
I actually came on as a moderator to help fight the spam problem, because there was a lot of spam, like a lot of spam bots just going crazy.
Okay.
So I got there to like help a bit with that, and now I'm also like helping out with like just trying to keep the community a pretty good place still.
And how is that going? Is it in a good place?
It's okay. There's people complaining a lot, which I don't always agree with.
I mean, what is the most common thing to say on this forum? I'm not there a lot, but what is the most common thing to bring up for debate or to discuss?
So the most common thing lately that I see people talking about is is that they're saying that Nadia is not responding enough to the players on the forum and stuff, and that they're not fixing bugs fast enough. Okay. I don't really agree with it. Mostly because the people who are saying those things are either like talking about bugs that are like not very high priority. Like if you see a thread about the game crashing, and then you see a thread about my custom car doesn't work or something, you know.
Okay.
Which one would you prefer would be fixed? I think everyone would go for the crash.
Yeah, of course.
So a lot of people think their priorities, like their own personal priorities, are more important than Nadia's actual priorities. Even though they are working on like a couple new games, so you know their priorities are very different from what people think they are.
And what if you are to suggest something, I don't know, directly to Nadeo or give people an indication? What is the maybe most important problem on the forum that is being discussed and maybe not fixed yet?
That's a tough question, actually.
Is there like a hot topic or?
let me take a quick look, see if I can find anything. I mean, there are a lot of issues still with. Yeah, there's a crash which happens if your car goes in, like, does a water bounce. The game can just randomly crash.
Oh, really?
Which is strange, and I think that should be fixed pretty fast. Yeah, that's one of the things. And there, I actually, personally, I think one of the most important things for Nadia to fix is interface consistency.
Oh, by that, do you mean what?
I mean, you've probably seen Mania Planet like evolve over the years, right?
Yeah.
Like Mania Planet 1, Mania Planet 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, 5's not out yet, but it'll be different probably. So every release, the interface changes a little bit. Like something becomes more modern, something becomes cleaner, you know. But then Nadio forgets to like change the old things, or like they remove things and then they forget to remove other things. It's kind of a mess, and it makes the interface very confusing at times. Which is why I think they should really look into making it more consistent.
Yeah, I had some people bringing up the thing that maybe the interface is too confusing for new players. Would you say it's too confusing, or?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say it's too confusing. I think if you're a new player, you can probably figure it out.
Okay.
But if you're a new player with not that much computer experience, I think Turbo would be a better game to play, you know, because that interface is actually pretty consistent and easy to understand.
And what is the biggest difference there for people that might not know? Why is Turbo easier than Mania Planet?
So Turbo was made for consoles originally, and they only decided to bring it to PC to like make the PC players happy, and well, not exactly that, but you know, somewhere along those lines.
Yeah.
They just wanted to have the game on PC as well for completeness sake. So that means that the interface is entirely designed for consoles, and it's streamlined for a very basic and simple and very easy to understand experience. And the biggest difference there is that in Turbo you already have all the environments mixed in, more or less. Well, in Mania Planet you have multiple title packs, and you gotta know how to play a certain environment, and you need to get into a title pack first, and then it can be very, very confusing if you don't know how all that works.
So if you said that maybe Nadeo, like the people that bring up the question that Nadeo isn't doing enough, you said, okay, maybe I disagree with that, but is there an example that you can say to the people, okay, Nadeo actually fixed this stuff pretty quickly, they actually did something?
Yeah, a very good example is the mesh modeler in Mania Planet 4 or 4.1. Yeah, both. If you look at the forums and you look at the threads that people are posting about the mesh modeler, there's like a crash or whatever, and they fix it within like a week or something. And yeah, maybe it's because the mesh modeler is very active development right now. Maybe, but I do think that's one example of like one of the places that Nanio is really pushing development.
Okay, so I think we found out that me and you are on sort of different sides of the game and maybe have a different view, but what is your view on how should Trackmania move forward? What is the next step for this game to sort of evolve and become more popular amongst, let's say, a casual gamer or a try-hard gamer?
I think if they want to get Mania Planet itself popular, then they need to. I know people are going to be mad at me for saying this, but they need to make it more like a Turbo experience, you know. So it's more streamlined, more easy to understand, but basically easier to get into and easier to like stay in. Like you want to be able to go back to the game as a new player and say, hey, this is still fun. and easy to understand, and I know how to play it.
So you think that maybe I don't know if I say it correct, but do you think that there may be too much in the Mana Planet, and maybe there are too many ways to go once you enter it, and maybe you get lost eventually?
Yeah. I think the interface is a bit confusing for new players. And there's another thing that I often say on the forum, which is that if Nadio really wants to get more players, they have to release something like Turbo 2. They need to release a game that is just like Turbo, more focused towards casual players, and just release it like an actual new game.
So you're positive for having a new game, and then maybe that will be sort of the next step for Trackmania.
Yeah, exactly. Or of course, maybe Shootmania as well, because that's also a thing that people really want more players in.
Yeah, this is the first time maybe Shootmania is brought up on the podcast. It's like 50 episodes. But what is the current state in Shootmania?
I don't play Shootmania myself a lot, but sorry. As far as I can tell, there are not that many players playing Shootmania anymore. I did see that on the channels, they did get a little bit more popular lately.
Okay.
I don't really know why, but they are getting more popular.
But it's still less
which is
popular.
A great thing, honestly. I think Shootmania can definitely use a lot more exposure.
Huh. But it's still less popular than Trackmania in terms of players, or how is that sort of comparable?
Yeah, there's not much players in Shootmania.
Okay.
I think I'm not entirely sure. I think you can compare Shootmania to like something in between Canyon and Valley.
Yeah. Okay. But for people that maybe say that Trackmania has maybe too many games, now you have people in Nations Forever, you have people in Mana Planet, you have some players in Turbo. Maybe bringing a new game will eventually just split the community even up more. What do you say to those people?
Yeah, I don't think it will split up anything.
Okay.
Because if you've looked at how Turbo came out, I don't think it really split up much. Would you say it did, or?
No, I think people, like at least the PC players, they just tested it and then eventually got back to Mana Planet simply because the servers doesn't work in Turbo. From what I heard, I'm not tested in my game myself.
Yeah, the servers in Turbo are a little bit different. As in, you like create a lobby and like put it's more like the programs on Mana Planet. But on splitting, I don't think that's. I don't think it will split, because I have seen a lot of players who started on Turbo and then eventually moved over to Mana Planet because they wanted more mods and stuff.
Okay.
So I think it's only a good thing for Mana Planet and the whole Trackmania community in general.
So now I will ask you what you think is next, or what do you want to do next, but are you having some, I don't know, deeper knowledge to what's actually next for Trackmania? What is Nadeo actually planning on releasing next?
There are, I'm not going to go too much into it, but there are like leaks and stuff going around, like rumors.
Okay. What is the hottest rumor?
I probably shouldn't say.
If you don't want to say it, I'm not going to force you. But
no, I'm not going to say anything about it. But I am excited for what I've been hearing.
Okay, so you are positive about what is next from the developing side.
No, I'm not positive. Well, yeah, positive as in opinion. Yeah, but I'm not entirely sure what they're doing. Still.
Okay. But are you having any, now that you talked about with Nadeo about your Openplanet, if it's okay and that, do you have any daily contact, weekly contact with them, or is it just once you have a project that you ask for something?
Yeah, it's I don't have any daily contact or anything. I can always like send them a message like, hey, what is this thing about, and then they'll respond like, oh, that works like this and that, and I think that's really cool.
One more topic that recently, I mean, all people I speak to play Canyon, they mention that the game is moving not in a good direction, to say it. They go down and people eventually move over to Stadium. How do you see the Canyon environment moving forward? Does it have a future, or?
I think it has a future, personally. I'm not sure if people are actually moving over to Stadium. I haven't heard about that.
I just like the top player Skugako has moved over. I mean, then
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. He
Some
doesn't
others,
play
probably just
Kane
the
at all
best
anymore?
players, I guess. Yeah, I mean, he's starting to play more and more Stadium, I think, to compete against, I mean, more players, I guess.
That's cool. I personally think that Stadium is like a harder environment, so probably eventually the best Kenya players will eventually want a more, probably more players as well.
Yeah, more
They want more of a challenge,
Yep.
more competition, more players, more things to do. So yeah, I think if players are moving to Stadium, just for that, that's cool. I think, because they should be able to do what they want.
But
yeah, I think Canyon still has the future.
Okay, so outside of the top players, you wouldn't say that the sort of player base is moving. It's more or less the same.
Yeah, well, it's for me, it's mostly the people that that it's not just Canyon. It's like the entire Trackmania community. Like, everyone is so close to each other. Like, everyone knows each other, which is it's the coolest thing about this community.
Yeah.
So I think if people move on to like other environments, that's not such a huge deal, because you'll probably still stay in contact with those people. But that's just me. I'm more of a community person than a competitive one.
Yeah,
maybe it's different competitively. Like, people want more competitions on Canyon or something. But
yeah, maybe,
which would be cool.
Yeah. I guess I'm also more of a community person than a player. I downloaded Untitled yesterday again, so 2 months without it.
You didn't have it installed before?
No. I mean, I've switched like PC 4 times in 12 months simply because of crashes. And I don't build maps anymore. I don't play it, so I just do these sort of podcasts and stuff.
That's still cool, because you are keeping the community still alive a bit,
Yeah, I'm trying to show that the Trackmania community is alive and is eventually moving forward, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And recently I had I believe it was podcast number 50. I had the first girl on. It was S, and that became a popular podcast. We spoke about what sort of, I don't know, what situations she has to deal with as a girl. You are, like you said to me before this, you're a transgender girl, but I don't know a lot about it. Can you simply make it short, and what do you need to know about being a transgender in maybe gaming overall and in real life?
Being a transgender in gaming, like online gaming, it can be tough sometimes, because I've had before that I would just be playing Stadium randomly, and people would see my name in game, and then they look up my my login or something, and they find some old profile of mine, and then they like insult you about you're not really a girl, blah blah blah. It's not great, especially if you're like early stage transition. Yeah.
So you actually meet people who try to go out of their way to actually insult you and to make you mad or sad.
Yeah. It's not just Trackmania, of course. It's actually less in Trackmania than anywhere else. People really don't seem that accepting in online games, but that experience I had before was also like a couple of years ago again. So it was a while ago. It might have gone better.
So what do you think it's become better, simply because now you maybe more people know, okay, she is a transgender and people accept it, or is it still like people who say, okay, I'm never going to accept this?
Well, yeah, people have accepted it.
Okay.
I've had some things in the past, like I didn't want to say it outright to them. I didn't want to use my microphone, stuff like that, and they really attack me for that. But since then, they do accept it now.
But do you think that maybe this would be, I don't know, a lesser problem if the community was like 50-50 of girls and boys? Now it's like 99% boys here.
Yeah, I mean, of course, that would probably fix a lot of those issues.
Yeah, bring more girl into Trackmania. We need it, right?
I wouldn't mind.
But as a transgender in real life, what would you say is the most common question you got? What do people that maybe not insult you, but just wonder, what is the most common question you get, and what do people in general wonder about?
You know, I don't know if I have an answer to that because I've been so early transition still, or like pre-transition. So I don't know.
But if you follow, do you think that the overall society is more acceptable of it, or?
I think overall, especially since I haven't gotten any weird questions or anything about it. So I think the internet is like getting more accepting about it.
And you live in the Netherlands, and I guess that's maybe a good place to live in it because let's say the Northern European countries are, what to say, ahead of their time, or at least more liberal towards this, right?
It is accepting also because it's so widespread. Like LGBT entirely is so widespread here. It's so widespread that the waiting times are so incredibly long. Well, which sucks, but I'm getting through it.
So you will, I mean, I just found out about this. I believe it was a TV program showing that there were some kids saying that they are born in the wrong body. And I got the question, how can you know that you are eventually born in the wrong body? What would you say it's like, how can you know that? Or is that possible to answer?
Well, it's different for everyone, I think.
Okay.
I think some people just know it, just feel it. But I only realized it like relatively recently. You know, like I wasn't like a teenager or anything when I figured that out. It's sometimes it's hard until you actually realize that.
Yeah.
Like it would be right under your nose, but you don't know it. You know, it's yeah.
Yeah, on the program I saw
I don't really know how to explain that feeling. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, I guess it's sort of all. I mean, I just saw the program, and I believe girl was like 12 years old. She saw a TV program and said, "Okay, it was like a lightning that struck her," and she said, "Oh, this is what I've been feeling and trying to put words into."
Yeah, if you feel that's a really good thing. Especially at that age.
Yeah. What is like is there a age that is better than others to, let's say, eventually move to another body?
Yeah, like before puberty, because then you can like block puberty from happening, and all the body developments you can just cancel them or like slow them down a lot, and then you don't have a lot of the characteristics of like the gender you don't want to be.
Okay, so if people have more questions about, let's say, the coding of Openplanet, maybe they have some ideas themselves or personal questions to you, where do they contact you, and are they allowed to contact you?
Yeah, you can contact me on Discord. I have an Openplanet Discord. You can find it on openplanet.nl. There's a link in the sidebar there. You can just message me there. If you have any questions about Openplanet or anything, you can just message me.
Thank you for stepping up and doing this. We had a hard time actually finding a date that suits both of us, and sometimes it's harder than others, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What is worth waiting for is good waiting for, or is that an English expression as well?
Huh? I don't know what you're saying.
Maybe it's just a Norwegian expression. If you wait for something and it's worth waiting for, it's good, right?
Sure.
Okay, do you have any final words for the listeners or something like that? Any people that you want to give a shout out to?
Oh, well, you're putting me on the spot.
You're always on the spot, right?
Well, I would like to give a shout out to like everyone who's using Openplanet right now. It's been a project that it's probably one of my longest projects that I've worked on. and it's always nice when people appreciate the work that I've put into it.
Yeah, that's for sure. And final question: how many average users do Openplanet have for people that wonder about that?
I'm not entirely sure, but in the Openplanet Discord, there are currently 400 members, or close to 500 members.
That's pretty big, no?
Yeah, I think so. It's fun because sometimes on random Trackmania Discords, I can see people with Discord-rich presence, and I know that it's Openplanet, and that's always fun to see.
Yeah, always fun to see your own projects spreading out and touching other parts of the game.
Yeah, and also like when people post on the forum, like, "Hey, here's a tutorial on how you get this thing fixed in Mania Planet," and then it starts with first download Openplanet. It's very cool to see.
Once again, thanks for doing this and stepping up
Thanks
and
for having
answering
me.
some questions that, let's be honest, I don't really know a lot about the developing side of the game.
Yeah, it's always nice to talk about it.
That's it now. Bye bye.